wanted to pay $30 for a salad? Or have you wanted to buy something from a college student on Instagram and maybe get scammed? Or would you like to feel somewhat personally responsible for whether or not a family in your community gets to keep their home? Let me introduce you to a sector of the economy I think you'd be very interested in. Small businesses. They're like regular businesses, but smaller. I spent 30 minutes trying to come up with a better opening line. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. While small businesses do a lot for the economy and the community, they can also be annoying. And in the age of social media, they found themselves in an interesting spot. Many of them rely on social media, but also many of them are bad at social media. It can blow a business up, or it can set a business on fire. It could be a great way to introduce yourself to new customers, or it could be a great way to scam people. It's complicated. And I know what you're thinking. David, did you get this idea by getting one too many ads on TikTok Shop? Why, yes, I did. How did you know? As I came up with the idea for this video, I couldn't help but wonder how my audience would react to my perspective. Maybe, just maybe, a 20-year-old with absolutely zero business experience wasn't the most qualified to discuss this topic. I asked members on my Patreon whether they thought I needed to interview a small business owner to get their perspective, or if they trusted that I could do it by myself. In the end, they were disloyal, and shall be punished accordingly on a later date. Nevertheless, I fulfilled their ridiculous request and met up with such a business owner. This is Michael Lorenzo, a baker in the DMV area. He's the owner and founder of Think Cheesecake. Now, if I were a typical reporter, I would say if you like cheesecake and live in the area, he would really appreciate your business and you can check him out in the first link in the description. But I'm no average reporter. I get down to the facts. Although I clearly didn't need his silly input, I was curious as to what such a simple man would have to say.
Hi.
Hey,
How
Mr.
are you?
Lorenzo.
Yes. How are you, sir?
I'm okay. Appreciate you taking the time to be with me here.
No problem at all. I got a couple cakes in the oven, so
Well, I didn't ask about that, so I actually have my own questions, so we can get started. I understand that you run a small business.
I do.
Okay.
Can I go further?
Well, no, hold on. I had a follow-up question to that. Oh, yes. How's that?
It's going well. Very well. Both the business and the cheesecakes. Okay. Is that a good answer for you?
We'll take that. Our editors will cut that together. It's a bit jumbled, but, we'll make it work.
I'm jumbled?
A little bit. But, we'll work with you. We understand you're new at this. I know, right? You probably should have prepared for this a little bit more.
I thought Oh, do you have a team with you that's
Well-
allowed to just speak out of turn, or is
Well,
this the interview with me?
We're going to go ahead. I have a few questions here still left.
Okay.
So it must be nice. Most people, when they're 5 years old, they pick a career and then they become an adult and do something serious like accounting. What's it like for you picking baking and then sticking with that into your adult life?
Wow. I still think you can bake still at the age of 5 and still bake at the age as a later adult.
Well, I liked to color when I was 5. I didn't decide that would be my career, but...
Coloring, I don't think, can put money into your pockets.
And I wouldn't think baking cakes would do that either, but... Okay, we're going to move on.
Yeah, let's move on.
Another thing I also wanted to ask, what's it like to be bald?
You're kidding me.
Oh, no, I'm just very curious as to what that does to a
Actually,
man of your age.
Well, since you want to go down that road, I'm not considered bald. I would be shaved.
Interesting.
Because
So you tell people it's a choice, is what you're saying.
it's my choice to shave.
It's what
my
you tell
head.
people. That's
Do
okay.
you have any more questions for me?
Last one.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Last one. Looking forward to it.
Do you think you could beat me in an arm wrestle? Feeling nervous?
No, because it would be how quickly would I beat
would
you.
win. I see.
No, how
Yeah.
quickly would I beat
I
you?
think we heard that.
Do you
I
realize
think-
that
Wife, we heard the answer.
you-
right?
you
He
are
conceded.
talking to-
He conceded. I thought it went great. But when I showed this to my patrons, for some weird reason, they weren't satisfied. They're a strange people. So I decided to give them one more shot to wow me.
What is this? Oh, this is the clip. I think I'm having a little bit of happy anxiety about this upcoming trip starting tomorrow.
How do you feel? Let's start from there.
Feel pretty good. This would allow me the opportunity and allow me to position myself and the brand to be in front of people that I might not have normally gotten to be in front of.
Yes, at the time of this interview, Lorenzo was prepping for a baking competition, one of the many primitive ways in which his generation would get exposure. Similar outdated methods include putting an ad in a black and white newspaper, or paying the local fool to yell about it in the town square. But Lorenzo would soon be forced to adopt the ways in which the modern man does his advertising.
And then you have this whole thing of now marketing. And it used to be, because I'm old enough to know that you can have a small business and it's just handshake. Here's my business card. Nobody wants to shake your hand. Nobody wants a business card. The most question that I get now is what's your, I don't know what the term is, what's your profile, or what's your...
You know the word. Say the word.
Instagram?
No, that's not the word.
Social media?
No, you're getting... When somebody says, I'm looking for your username, you're looking for the word. What's the word? What's your...
handle?
No, well, I'll give you your at.
Is that it?
Yes! You know, it must suck to be used to one type of advertising pretty much your entire life, and then all of a sudden, it just gets replaced by something completely new. Like, the older generation of mom and pop shops came up on radio ads and TV commercials and spots in newspapers and billboards. Do all of those forms of advertising still exist? Of course. But do you get lines out the door made up of people around the country just because you had a bomb TV commercial? No! It's because Keith Lee went there and agreed that your food wasn't terrible. Social media and the internet at large has made the world seem smaller. And so, if I'm not mistaken, and from my perspective in the past, small businesses used to be only things that were local to me, but now, technically because of the internet, everything can be local to me. I can know about any restaurant, clothing brand, or artist I want to in the country. It's no longer just about who's in a 10-mile radius of me.
I'm saying all of that because there's a definite age gap when it comes to how businesses are promoted and marketed nowadays than it was 15, 10, 20 years ago.
I find it fascinating whenever a food place blows up on social media, because in what universe is it reasonable to expect that anybody would travel across state lines to try like a taco truck in Nevada? The universe where they saw it on TikTok and it just looked like really good. Like, for example, take this video.
Yo, if I ever made you laugh or anything, please, I need my influence to do something good for me. This is the very best pizza in the world right here. It's Mike's Pizza, best pizza in the world. I've been going here since I was a tiny little girl. And let me tell you something, they know me so well. He literally just told me they're closing next week. Please go show Mike's Pizza some. I know Mike.
Fast forward a little bit. This video has millions of views. Keith Lee went there. Dozens of people made videos about Mike's Pizza. And now if you look at the reviews on Google, the place has a bunch of new 4- and 5-star reviews, some of them quoting the original video as the reason they're writing the review. I live in a completely different state. I want to try Mike's Pizza. Now, unfortunately, they did close down, but the point still remains. Do you think they could have gotten this much attention if they had paid for an ad on TikTok that I would have scrolled past in about 1.4 seconds as soon as I saw the little ad box? No, of course not. Now, is this going to happen for everyone? Absolutely not. But it does go to show the power that organic social media posts can have for a business's marketing. On that note, there's also something huge that social media does for small businesses. It allows them to show off their personality. Brand personality is huge. The way I see it, before the internet, small businesses were part of the in-person community, and they would add a certain vibe to the community as well. Now, in the age of social media, sure, a small business might not necessarily be physically close to us, but they may produce a vibe or give a sense of community that we enjoy, and we can simply include ourselves in that. There's this account on Instagram called Homeboy. It's this cafe run by this 19-year-old dude. I know nothing about him. I don't even know where he's based. I'm pretty sure I don't live anywhere near him, yet I still followed him and watched all his videos and watched his stories regularly. Why would I do that? I don't know, I just like their vibe. And the place looks chill. It looks like somewhere, if I was there, you know, that'd probably be fun, right? You think so? And honestly, I think when I first saw him, I tried living vicariously through him. Like, man, what if I opened a cafe when I was 19? That'd be really cool. Like, is this guy ever going to make a sale on me personally? Probably not. But hey, guess what? I'm talking about it. I'm spreading the word. Maybe one of you are gonna go follow him, and then it turns out that you live pretty close to him, and then it turns out that you actually like the cafe, you end up buying something, and guess what? He will have made a sale solely because I thought he had a good vibe on Instagram. This is why brand personality is so important. I don't know him. I don't know anything about his products. Maybe his cafe sucks, but his personality is cool, and now this is free advertising. One company that I do think has really mastered the having a personality aspect of social media advertising, Morning Brew. Do you remember a few years ago when they were starting to become a common YouTube and social media sponsor? The newsletter that makes you smarter in just 5 minutes. Hey, I don't care, is what I would have said a few years ago. Now, I genuinely enjoy them, and I do get happy whenever they pop up on my feed. If they ever went out of business, I would be distraught. I would also start to know a lot less about geopolitical affairs. So I think that settles it. Social media, it's good, and it's awesome, and everyone loves it, and it's great for businesses, and it's great for consumers, and it's great for my grades in class, and I have no problem with it whatsoever, and everyone loves it, and nothing bad could ever go wrong from this, from the consumer's perspective or from the business perspective. Everybody wins with absolutely no downsides. Now, despite all those benefits that we just discussed, there are also a number of reasons why social media wouldn't be good for a small business, or why untrained use of it could actually be harmful to them in the long run.
I don't like it, but I see it's the necessary way of communicating with the public now. I think I'm okay. I don't do enough of posting, I've heard.
For one thing, there's the time commitment. With all the hats that a small business owner is probably already wearing, it's understandable why they wouldn't want to throw another one on there. But hey, they're just making silly internet videos. All they have to do is make a couple posts, and then they get millions of views and all the customers they could ever want. That's how it happens, right? It's that easy. Have you ever tried explaining to your parents how people make like a lot of money in social media, and then they say something like, "Oh, you should try that"? Really? Golly gee, why didn't I think of that, mother? What a fantastic idea. Thank you so much. They don't understand the work and creativity and consistency that it requires, and that you can do all of that and it still won't work. Now, am I saying being on social media is as hard as a 9 to 5? Probably not. But it is still something that you have to put time, and sometimes you cry over it a little bit. And I can only imagine that it's only going to be very, very stressful if you try to do this on top of a 9 to 5. Except no, you're not a 9 to 5. You're a business owner. So your working hours are from forever to forever.
I have pictures, and this is not, I'm proud of it, but it's like, this is just part of the marketing that I'm not good at. I may have a cheesecake that I might be highlighting, but no picture of it. It's probably not too
How
good.
does that work?
By the time I get my ingredients and I bake and I bake and I bake, and I go to the events that pop up, or I go somewhere and do my sales, I don't have time to be taking pictures too.
It takes time to come up with ideas, and then do writing, and then film them, and then edit, and then post, and then respond to comments, and then see how it doesn't do well in the algorithm, and then do it again over and over, sometimes for years before something hits. But even if they do understand that it's not some trivial sideshow, they don't understand what it takes to grow a following. As weird as it seems, it's more than just informing me that your product and service does exist. I'm sorry, I know you're a person and you're not just a monkey that I watch dance, but you do have to entertain me. Dance, monkey, dance. So no, social media is not the hardest thing on the face of the planet, but it's also not exactly just post anything. You gotta think, you need to be creative, you need to be consistent, and you need to know what your audience wants to see. You need to do this over and over and over again. This is not easy to do on its own, let alone as a person who's trying to sell people things. On social media, a brand is more than just their products, it's their personality. And every post you make should be adding to that sense and general vibe of a community. If you're not doing that, what reason do I, as a customer, have to keep up with you and see the new things that you're doing? If you don't do that, you just end up feeling like a mini corporation. And I get it. A small business is a business. You're doing it, you need money to live. That's fine. Any reasonable person should be understanding of that. But if everything you do on social media feels solely like an economic transaction, why would I choose to have you in my feed? It's for that reason, if a small business wants to be popular and be well respected, they need to understand what internet culture is like, to speak their language, and to do the things that the Romans do. If they don't, then they're going to fall into one of the many common pitfalls. Now, for the next approximately 3 minutes, let's consider some of those bad strategies that you'll want to stay away from. One thing I will always have disdain for is when people on social media are not getting as many customers as they'd like, and so they default to, okay, y'all don't want to support small businesses? Hey, shut up. Stop talking. Prevent more words from passing through your lips. And yeah, I'll say it. Do I know anything about businesses? No. Do I know the stresses that come along with it? Absolutely not. What I do know, kind of, is having a somewhat presence on the internet. And here's something that I've learned on the internet that will take you far in a lot of places in life, I assume. You deserve nothing! Now, I can't remember exactly where I read this on Reddit, but I do remember it was on a forum talking about small businesses, and an owner came on talking about how he doesn't expect his community's blind support, and I really liked what he said. He said something along the lines of, it's wrong to chastise customers for making informed decisions on how to spend their hard-earned money. Frankly, that's some beautiful writing. And you can modify that statement to also include people's attention. It's a valuable thing. You don't inherently deserve it. I can speak from personal experience. I've been making videos on the internet for 3 years, and when I first started, I thought everything I made was gold. I thought I was way cooler and so misunderstood, and nobody likes me even though I'm cool. I'm like a popular loner, you know, like I'm the cool one, but just nobody knows it yet. Like it's just not fair. YouTube just hates me. Oh my gosh, I deserve far more attention. Now, in hindsight, was it actually that good? Classmates. So I did.
I just texted 2 people from school that I really want their input on this thing. So
I talked about this in my Suck at What You Do It More video. You overestimate how good you are when you first start. Once you get some experience, then you look back and realize, oh, that was terrible. You have an inflated ego, and you think just because you think it's good, it deserves all the attention and accolades and all the praise, and everyone should love you immediately. And honestly, I'm just speaking for myself. It may be that from the get-go, your stuff is fantastic. It might be. That doesn't matter yet, though. You very well could be the next big thing, but never feel that you deserve attention, or at the very least, never express that feeling. You will only come across as whiny and ungrateful and being childish, and what's that gonna do for your brand's personality? Anytime I hear a small business use that phrase on social media, all I can help but think is that they're being passive-aggressive and self-entitled. And likely, this is my first impression of you. Do not ruin your personality. As discussed, guilt-tripping your audience is a short-lived strategy that cannot last long-term. But if you wanted bad attention for some reason to last a little bit longer, there's another strategy you could try. You can make a product so controversial that no matter how badly it's received by the internet, similar to a train wreck, they simply cannot look away. For example,
myth: men's leggings are only worn under shorts. Not today. With the crisp white button-up shirt, tailored black blazer, and dress slip-on shoes, you have a modern formal look.
in my eyes, there's 2 possibilities. Either this guy is the king of committing to the bit, or I simply do not understand fashion the way I thought I did. I truly thought I did. I don't know. And there are other examples of businesses on TikTok that were so badly received they got way more attention than what is reasonable. Like, remember the pink sauce lady and the lady who was making pickles wrong? Like those people. Now this could work. Rage bait can be an effective tool at times. I mean, it baited me into making an entire video about it once, but that won't last extremely long either. And again, think about your personality. You don't want to be known as a troll whose entire personality is making other people feel powerless and angry. That's what Twitter's for. This award-winning commentary on society was brought to you by David Achu. Please clap. I would also be rather concerned as a businessman if my livelihood could be threatened because the platform I choose to do all of my marketing on could just like disappear with no warning or compensation whatsoever. For example, do you remember last month when TikTok was banned for approximately 30 seconds? Was it sad for us scrolling addicts? Of course. But you know who it may have been worse for? People who were economically dependent on it to a degree. Not only the people who made money on TikTok itself, but the people who are doing all their small business advertising on TikTok. And really, this could be its own conversation about how creating and how making that a job really isn't secure, because again, it could leave at any time. Your audience could leave you at any time. You really shouldn't depend on this. It's not very secure. But as if all of this wasn't bad enough, there's yet another evil that comes when you combine small business and social media. I was going to cut this part out for the sake of time, but I can't. I feel like it has to be mentioned, right? Remember how I said people can use the small business title as a weapon? Well, it turns out you can do a very similar thing with the word entrepreneur. Anybody can call themselves that. Did you know that? I think a fair test of whether or not you should be able to put the word entrepreneur in your Instagram bio, can you spell it without looking it up or autocorrect? If you can, fine. Myself included, I used autocorrect in the script. I still don't know how to spell it. Now, I'm gonna be totally honest, I do not understand what drop shipping is. Now, I know what you're thinking, David, you didn't do research for this part of the video. No, that's not what I said. I've watched multiple videos of people trying to explain it, what it is to me. I still don't get it. You buy it from a supplier, then you sell it for more money, and then somebody buys it from you. Like, I understand the concept. There's no way that's profitable for majority of the people who try it, right? If my luxury video has taught me anything, if multiple men are making inspirational videos talking about how they easily made millions and that they can teach you to do it too if you join their course, someone is lying to you. I'm not sure when it happened, but somewhere in between you first learning about the concept and you putting your credit card information in their website, someone has deceived you. I'm not gonna speak too much on it because I've never done it. And supposedly, there has to be at least a few people who are making some pretty good money doing it, right? But to me, this reads exactly as like something that a financial guru would try to sell you on. You try it for exactly 2 days, all the while you feel so much smarter than everyone else working an average 9 to 5. You try it and you net like 70 cents. Total, and then you realize, yeah, you don't want to do this, and then you give up. Yeah, because of course that's gonna happen. I'm not saying you personally watching this video will fail. I'm just saying out of 100 of you, most of you probably will. The term small business is not only a business term, it's a social one. When you hear the word small business, locally owned and operated, homemade, it makes you think of more than just the economics of the situation. You have a sentimental attachment to it. And if you're using that attachment that people have to sell something from AliExpress on TikTok Shop at a 200% markup, you're abusing that term. You're taking advantage of that feeling to make a quick buck. You want the societal benefits of being a small business without fulfilling any of the societal expectations. It doesn't sound so nice when you put it like that. I don't know why I'm going so hard for small businesses when I, just a few minutes ago, was insulting an owner in his own home. For example, I don't shop on Etsy, but from what I understand, it's supposed to be a place where like artists and homemade craftsmen can go sell their crafts and their paintings and their jewelry, that type of thing. That's definitely the vibe that's implied by their advertising. And yet, despite literally selling themselves as the hub for small business and independent creatives, dropshipping has reached them as well. Now, to be fair, Etsy does say that they do not support direct dropshipping, and there are only a few exceptions in which they will allow reselling. However, I do think it's funny that when you Google Etsy dropshipping, the first thing you see is them saying you cannot dropship on Etsy. The very next thing you see, here's exactly how to dropship on Etsy. I view egotistical dropshipper bros in the same category as anybody who makes AI art and makes money off of that. You guys are idiots going to your stupid 9-to-5 desk jobs. I made $1 million without even taking a shower this morning. I am definitely a well-balanced and reasonable adult who's not a nightmare to be around at all. And I feel like I just had to throw this in real quick. I don't think if you dropship, you're just a bad and greedy person. Like, if it's a good product from AliExpress or whatever, and they can only ship it in multiples, and you mark it up for like $3 on Amazon, okay, like, whatever. I get it. It's money. I'd probably do it too. Just be reasonable about it is all I'm saying. And also don't think that you're better than anybody else because you have an Amazon seller's account. That's not what that means. That's all I'm trying to say. Don't shoot me. Again, I'm not a small business owner, so I'm not going to sit here and say I understand all the principles that go into deciding on what the price of an item should be. I truly do not. But I can tell you that as a cheap consumer, I don't like spending money. It's not fun, but as true as that is, on a small business level, prices cannot always be what customers want them to be for a number of reasons. I want you to think of a restaurant that charges $20 for like a sandwich. Now, it could be a good sandwich, but $20? Do you know what I could do with $20 at McDonald's? I could maybe buy 2 sandwiches, maybe. Yet McDonald's isn't cheap anymore, and I feel as though not enough people are talking about it. It's deeply disturbing to me, and we will discuss it further at a later date. And yes, to me, that sounds like a lot of money. $20, one sandwich, really. But if you think about it, that $20 is supposed to care for a lot. Like, think the main. Let's suppose that's the only thing they sell. That means their entire income is sandwich based. Everything that they pay for is based on the sale of sandwiches. If we're looking at a short list of some of the things that small businesses have to cover with the money that they make, they are paying the rent for the building, electricity and gas, the free condiments, forks, napkins, the bags the food comes in, the marketing for the shop, their insurance, the stove and other appliances they use to make the food, their own rent and or mortgage at home, their car, their phone, their kids' violin lessons or something. They need to pay all of that on sandwiches. Something that came up a lot in my research is that this is not the same as big businesses. Big name restaurants typically get supplies cheaper because they're buying in greater quantities. They likely have a bigger customer base, so they don't need to charge as much per unit. And I can only imagine that they have enough money to where if a month is not as profitable as they had hoped it would be, that probably wouldn't tank the entire business. And none of those things can be inherently said of a small business.
It is a source of income. And the economy that we're living in now is not conducive to working for yourself, because everything is so expensive, because they don't have the same margins that we have. They don't have the same amount of product that they can bring in, which is the more you can bring in as far as your ingredients, the lower you can sell it for.
So yes, maybe the sandwich does need to cost $20, but also maybe me as a customer, what if I have a kid with violin lessons? I don't want to spend that money. You see, now I'm caught in like an ethical dilemma. Like, do I spend the money at McDonald's, save a few bucks? But then if I don't do that, I'm not investing in my own community. I should invest in my community. But how should I be expected to invest in my community when I don't even have enough to invest in myself? But if I go to McDonald's, I'm also helping like the big corporation. And if the small business goes under, the big corporation just gonna come in and take the small business, and then they're gonna price gouge because there's no more competition left. But like also the quality of the product at said small business isn't really that great, especially when compared to the cheapness of the big corporation product. So it's like I'm spending more money for an arguably inferior quality product, but if I don't, I'm also not helping my own community in the long run, but also I'm not helping my family in the current run if I don't save money now. Hey, I don't want to have a discussion on long-term economics and morality. I just want a sandwich. That in and of itself is a complicated situation. You know what makes it worse? A guy on TikTok selling a lamp that barely works, seeing that small businesses get to charge a little bit more and nobody calls them out on it, and thinking, oh, I'll do that too. I don't like TikTok Shop. I don't know if I've made that abundantly clear yet. I don't like it. Small businesses have a space in online and real life communities. And although there are a lot of people who are just trying to use the status so they can make a quick buck, there are a lot of genuine small businesses who make good products who are just trying to take care of their families. This is gonna be manipulative, but I don't care. I need sap. I need sappy. So I'm going to ask you, why do you do it? You've told me this before, so
What's
it's not
sappy?
lying. Like, you know, feel good, the sentimental part.
What did I tell you?
You told me that you want to get her your wife out of here.
Oh yeah, that's not sappy. That's like a heavy conversation.
I mean,
Or is it sappy?
I mean, you love her, right?
I do. The more this business can become productive and financially stable, it frees up the amount of work that those in my family have to put in. Truly believe and live by the code of, if I eat, we all eat, but we all have to work to eat together.
Again, if you want to support Think Cheesecake, go to the whatever I put in the description. Go to that. He's good. Cheesecake's good. He's like family to me. Go ahead and support, please. Also, he's been complaining that I didn't make his video already. He thought I put it on the back burner. I had things to do, dude. It's finished now. Stop complaining, old man. That's why you're annoying. That's why you're bald. I'm not saying I don't support him. I'm still trying to do that. I'm also just venting frustrations. I can do two things at once.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!